Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Yo, 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 what is up? Peace and richest blessings. Sending you all the love, all the good vibes. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I'm in a super good mood today, so I wanted to come on here and share a nice little message with you. And this is something that for some of you it might be new. For most of you, this is already something that you do. And this is something that we all can benefit from mastering. This is a skill that can massively improve every single area of our life. And it's something that no matter where we're at on our journey, this is a helpful reminder and something we can continuously work on mastering. And that skill is called reframing. Reframing means you just switch your perspective. You choose to look at circumstances in ways that empower you instead of ways that disempower you. Pretty simple concept. It's a little bit more difficult to practice. And so this is something that we can just keep working on every day, every moment. There's new challenges that arise. And when you start to develop this as a habit, and this is your autopilot habit, your whole life just becomes magical no matter what happens. So it's something I've been working on for years, and I've gotten really good at this. And I'm going to continue to just keep getting better at this throughout the rest of my life. So anytime any circumstance arises, challenging, stressful, hard, anything like that, I immediately reframe it, and I make the conscious decision to choose a new perspective, to choose a new way to look at this situation. Because our suffering is never caused by the circumstance itself, it's caused by our perspective of the circumstance. If something, happens to you, let's say something crazy happens to you. You get hit by a car and break both of your legs. Knock on wood. And you could look at that's a neutral circumstance. Your perspective is what gives it a charge, negative or positive. The circumstance itself is not inherently good or bad. Most people would say it's bad because getting hit by a car and breaking both your legs sucks, and now you can't walk and you're in a wheelchair or whatever. However, another person could choose to put a super empowering perspective on that same circumstance. Another person says, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because it caused this huge spiritual awakening, and I realized I was so busy caught up doing all this stuff, and I never had time to really think about it or look at my ways until I was sitting there in a wheelchair and couldn't walk, and I had to reassess what was important to me. And then or something crazy happened, maybe in the hospital, they met a nurse and fell in love and it was their soulmate, and they wouldn't have met each other if he didn't break his legs or whatever. You know what I mean? So any circumstance can be reframed, no matter how challenging. I've seen people reframe the gnarliest circumstances, and you can start in really small ways and then build it up as a habit. To me, this is a habit. I don't think about, I need to try and reframe this. I just naturally reframe everything. The second I miss a flight, I wasn't supposed to be on that flight. That probably saved me from getting a plane crash. Or now I'm going to get some travel voucher. Or now I get extra time in this airport to sit on my laptop and get that project done that I've been needing to work on. Or there's just infinite ways that anything can immediately be transmuted into a blessing in disguise. I really believe with all of my heart that nothing in the universe is inherently good or bad. I believe that's all neutral. And our perspective, our consciousness, our perception of these things is what makes them quote unquote good or bad. So I was thinking of the reason I even got inspired to create this episode was on a super simple one that wasn't a very big deal. I was hiking yesterday, and I've been noticing all the hiking trails that I frequent have been extra crowded since COVID-19, since we're all supposed to be staying at home, quarantined. Apparently we're all going hiking. And The hiking trails that I normally have to myself, especially during the winter, have just been popping. Like, just so many more people there than I've ever seen. And I've been going to these places for 15, 20 years. And it's like the first time I haven't been able to find parking spots at some of them. And it's been super crowded. So naturally, I immediately thought of like that being a bummer, or like, oh, that sucks now that it's so crowded, or I can't even have my peace and quiet in the mountains because everyone's up there, and I'm trying to go social distance and all this stuff, and yet I end up being around a ton of people when I'm trying to go hiking. And so I immediately thought of it as a negative thing at first, and then I was able to quickly reframe it as I was hiking up. All of a sudden it dawned on me, Burnell, this is like your dream come true. This is exactly what you've been preaching. Like 90% of the content you make is about preaching people to get out in nature and to rewild themselves, to let go of all this programming and social conditioning that's harmful to us, and get back to our natural ways of how we were designed to operate on this planet. I'm always preaching, get out in nature, go, dip in the cold streams, take your shoes off and ground, go hug trees, all that stuff. Because I genuinely believe and know that is a medicine, one of the best medicines for humanity to heal our mind, our bodies, our spirits, everything. So here, now all these people are out in nature and I'm going to be mad about it? So like I realized that was hypocritical, and I switched to appreciation. Like, yo, if a lot of people are out here, rather than being bummed like, oh, that means less peace and quiet for me, hey, this is a blessing for the collective. Everyone is me. We're all one. So if a bunch of people are in their house suffering, I'm suffering too. But if they're getting out in nature and healing, then I'm healing too, and it's uplifting us as a group, as a collective. So I immediately reframed it in that way. That was the first way I reframed it. And any circumstance can usually be reframed into like multiple different positive ways. So that was the first way. I was just like, okay, this is actually a blessing for humanity. More people are going to be healthy and happy and kind to each other and more loving, and all the things that come from being connected with nature. If I go to the supermarket and it's a bunch of people that have, only been, I don't think I've ever called it a supermarket before. I always just call it the store. But if I go to the supermarket and I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who have been just sitting in their house scrolling through the news and social media, there's going to be some negative vibes in that supermarket. But if everyone just got down from a hike and they're feeling good, it's going to be vibes in there. It's going to be feeling good. So I was like, that's a positive for humanity, for the collective. We all need this, especially right now. And then the second way I reframed it was, hey, this pushes me out a little bit further to explore unknown places that I haven't been to, because it doesn't matter what happens in the collective. There's parts of nature that are hard to get to that will never be crowded because it just takes some effort to get there. And the majority of the people are not willing to bushwhack through crazy trees or go up super steep inclines or climb cliffs or do the, things that I'm super capable of doing and enjoy doing. So for me, it's just, hey, this is an opportunity to explore new places. And I had one of the best hiking sessions that I've had in months yesterday, because I went beyond the normal spot. The normal spot that I always go to was kind of blown up, so I chilled there for a little bit, and I was like, let me practice enjoying this space equally with the ambiance of people around me, rather than, just the silence of nature. Can I enjoy it, just as much with all these people around? And the answer was yes. I was able to start viewing all the other people's voices and conversations as just like part of the ambiance and adding to my joy, and I loved it. But then I wanted some peace, and so I went further than I've ever gone, down a side trail that I've never been down, and I started just exploring all these new places, and I got into a really beautiful flow state I started feeling all inspired. I started feeling stoked and grateful. I got completely present because everything was new. When you're around like stuff that you've been around so much, your mind is so much, it can drift. That's part of the reason I love traveling, because it brings me into the present because I'm seeing something new for the first time. I'm just like fully where I'm at. So those were just two simple ways I reframed this scenario of like, oh, the hiking trails are crowded and this sucks. Oh, actually, no, this is a huge blessing because now I'm going to see new places, which is going to benefit me. And now the collective is healing themselves and helping themselves more and realizing how powerful nature is. And I bet a lot of these people have been feeling anxious and stressed, and they felt amazing when they got out there. And so maybe they'll start living an outdoor active lifestyle more, and that'll benefit all of us. If more people are getting out in nature and moving their bodies, it benefits all of humanity. So that was just a simple example of something that really wasn't a big deal, but I was able to quickly reframe it in two ways that just made me way stoked and way grateful. This whole COVID-19 has just been a massive reframe. I've been reframing every single aspect of it in a way that empowers me, excites me, uplifts me, triggers me to feel gratitude. So everything can be a blessing in disguise, or it can be a nightmare. It's your choice. It's just up to you on how you want to perceive it. And it's easier said than done in certain scenarios, but it's a habit and a skill that you can develop by practicing it. And over time, you'll just get really pro at reframing it and reframing anything. When my mom died, I had already been doing this work of reframing. So I was, able to quickly see, hey, this is going to deepen our spiritual connection. Oh, this is going to cause me to appreciate and cherish my other relationships more. Or like I just reframed it in so many ways. This is making me stronger. If I can get through this, I can get through anything. Because that was my biggest fear as a child, is losing my mom. She's my best friend. She's the only person in my family that like truly saw me and truly let me be me. I didn't have that kind of relationship with my dad or even my brother really, or any of my aunts or grandparents or cousins or anything like that. Love them all dearly. But my mom and I had a very special connection where she was like one of the only beings on this planet that truly saw me, that truly let me be me, that truly supported me, and truly loved me unconditionally. And so I was so scared of losing her, and just thought that would be, I remember being young thinking, oh, if she dies, I might just kill myself because I don't know like what else I would have to live for. And luckily I ended up having my daughter before she died. So like I had something even bigger to live for at that point. But that was one of the most challenging situations in my life. And I was able to quickly reframe that and know, hey, this is going to make me stronger. This is going to make me more compassionate. This is going to help me get through anything. And to be honest, the rest of my life has felt like a breeze. There hasn't, like, I remember I used to go through suffering and struggles before my mom passed, and it was like the end of the world every time I went through some shit. Now it's like no matter what I go through, I'm just like, it's not that big of a deal. Even like the hardest, gnarliest things haven't seemed that big of a deal, because I feel like I already faced like one of the biggest challenges of life. And, I've lost best friends to overdose and suicide and all that stuff too. I've experienced a lot of death. I lost both my grandparents, lost, aunt, uncles, and cousins, all sorts of things. I've lost so many friends and family members, and death, it's made me face my own death. It's made me more comfortable with dying. And a little side note is like your quality of life is dramatically increased when you're at peace with the fact that you're going to die. When you make peace with your own death and with the death of all your loved ones, you just start living it more fully, and you cherish everything more and appreciate everything more. And you don't really waste time, and you're not petty and all that stuff, because you realize like any of us could die tomorrow, and like this might be the last time we hug, or this might be the last conversation we have. So, the more you experience death, it's good for you. So that's, death is apparently one of the things that we're the most scared of. And I've dealt with that, so I'm strong. You know what I mean? It makes everything else in life easier to deal with. So that's a way I've reframed death. And then, when I got my car repossessed or evicted from apartments or falling out with friends or health issues or, addictions and struggles, all these things, I'm able to quickly reframe that. When I was addicted to cigarettes, I was like, this is going to help me get healthier. This is helping me understand what it's like to be addicted to something so I can maybe help people navigate through that. You know what I mean? And I overcame my addiction, and now I'm in a power to help other people overcome their addiction. So it was actually happening for me. It was a blessing. I had a huge spiritual awakening after my car got repossessed, and every time I go through challenges, it just up levels me and helps me grow. So I have a lot of experience where I'm able to use quote unquote negative or difficult situations, and then it skyrockets my whole existence and helps me in so many ways because I reframe it. I don't think any of these things would have benefited me so much if I hadn't reframed them. If I had just looked at it, oh man, this universe is just like out to get me, and this sucks, and my life is going to shit, and everything is collapsing around me. And like, I haven't had maybe one negative thought since this whole COVID-19. Like, there was maybe one time where I thought, like, for maybe 30 seconds or so, that something was going to come negative to me or my family because of this situation. The rest of the 99.99% of the time, I've just been like so grateful and so stoked on this whole situation. Like, yes, I'm going to become more abundant. I'm going to get more done. I'm healing my shadows. Humanity's having a chance to unwind. It's like I've been preaching for humanity to slow down, to stop working so much, to look at what's important, to sit in silence and face their shadows and face their fears. And this whole entire thing is like just a dream come true. If all of my work and mission was successful, this is what I would have wanted. You know what I mean? I wanted people to start facing their shit. I wanted people to start realizing that their security comes from within and not from a job or from, the government. I wanted people to stop trusting the news and the media so much. And so a lot of that work is starting to happen. And it's like this whole virus just helped aid all the work that I've been trying to do. It just helped amplify everything that I've been trying to work on. More people out in nature now. More people are caring about their health and well-being now. All the stuff I've been trying to preach to humanity to me, it's just like, yes. And I have extra time. I don't have to be to all these specific places at specific times quite as often as I used to, because, when I was picking my daughter up from school every day, it's like I got to be there exactly at 3:15 versus now I could show up at 3:15 or 3:30 or 4. It's not going to change that much. And just I haven't been doing as many meetings and physical meetups with people, so I've just had more freedom to be creative, to meditate, to be in nature, to organize and clean my house, to do whatever I need to do to be on top of my game. So I've just thought of countless ways to reframe this whole situation. It's just the best thing that's ever happened in my life, and I say that about a lot of things, but I'm just a passionate being. So I feel my mom dying was the best thing that ever happened. Having a child unexpectedly when I never thought I was ready to be a parent whatsoever, with someone who I wasn't even in love with, who I really barely knew. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Getting evicted and cars repossessed and, just being basically in poverty almost and just struggling. All these things are the best things that's ever happened to me. Thank you, universe. And now as I grow and up level, I'm realizing that I can expand and grow through joy rather than expand and grow through pain and suffering. But both are really equally powerful. I spent the first 20 something years of my life mostly learning through pain, mostly learning through suffering, and now I'm starting to shift to where I can learn through blessings. I can learn from other people's sufferings by reading their books and listening to their podcasts. I don't have to go through every challenge myself. I don't have to touch the hot stove to burn my hand and know it's hot anymore. I can just trust this homie that's touched it before can tell me, don't touch that shit. And I'm like, okay, I got you. Thank you. So there's just so many ways that you can reframe anything in your life. If you're dealing with a health issue right now, how is this happening for you? Why is this a blessing in disguise? It's all about the questions we ask ourselves. And if when we ask ourselves, oh, why does this always happen to me? That's a disempowering question. You're going to produce a disempowering answer and you're going to go on a negative spiral. Versus when you ask an empowering question, it propels you, it inspires you, it uplifts you, it leads you to massive inspired action. You know, everything that I've ever gone through is just like exactly what I needed to get to where I'm at, to be able to serve in the way that I serve. Like, my music would be so boring if I never went through any hardships. I wouldn't have anything to share on this podcast if I hadn't been doing all this work, you know what I mean? So it's all blessings. I can't think of a single scenario in my life that I wouldn't be able to reframe. You know, even if this entire planet just disappeared, like a comet hit us tomorrow, we all die, everything that I've loved and cherished is just non-existent anymore, I could still reframe that. I might not consciously be able to say it in words because I'm not a human anymore, but who knows, you know, that whole unknown situation. But I know we'd be able to even reframe that as like, oh, that was the best thing that ever happened. Now we're just pure spirit, loving awareness, consciousness now, and we're not bound by all these limitations of our physical bodies and society and all this stuff. And now we're free. Like, yes, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank God for that comment, you know. Anything. Like I practice visualizing things like, you know, what would happen if I came home and my house was burnt down and everything that all my physical stuff was just gone? Oh, that would actually help me realize what's important. I would build it back up. I would, you know, restart, refresh. Everything would be better. Versus, you know, if you hadn't practiced reframing, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. My life is going to shit. How am I ever going to recover from this? This sucks. So reframing is just one of the most valuable skills that we can all practice. And I highly encourage you to just start practicing it in every area. If you're supposed to meet up with someone and they're running late, you have two choices. You can immediately choose to feel disrespected or, you know, like your time is being wasted, or you can say, hey, I'm so glad that they're running late because now I get that chance to meditate or read a chapter in my book or practice some yoga or some breath work real quick, or, you know, like if you're in line in a supermarket and it's I love how I'm saying supermarket all of a sudden on this episode, like I've never said that word in my life probably. You're at the supermarket and there's a huge line. It's just taking forever. Okay. Rather than, this is a waste of time and you shouldn't have come here at this time and da-da-da-da, shoulda, woulda, coulda, shitting all over yourself. Embrace where you're at and say, hey, this is helping me practice patience. Fuck yes. I've been needing to practice patience more, and it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Thank you. So everything, no matter what, this whole COVID-19, you losing your job and your source of income, best thing that's ever happened to you. Such a blessing. Be grateful, shift it, reframe it. It doesn't mean you necessarily enjoy it. Like if I touch a stove and it burns my hand, I don't enjoy the sensation in my hand necessarily, but I look in the bigger picture and I enjoy the lesson behind it. This hurts right now, but this just saved me from, like, you know, burning my hand, or this just saved my daughter from burning her hand. Now she doesn't have to burn it because she can see what happened to mine and she won't ever touch that. And obviously that's an analogy because no one's touching stoves, but, you know, it's a metaphor for anything in life. And there's just so many blessings that can come from every adversity. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book, Think and Grow Rich, says every adversity carries with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity. And I believe it's always a greater opportunity. Like, I believe Universe doesn't take anything from you without immediately replacing it with something better. And I believe that the universe doesn't give us anything that we're not ready to handle. And I believe that everything that comes our way, as challenging as it may seem, is always happening for us, not to us. It's always a gift to help us grow. It's always a gift to help us expand, to become more compassionate, to help fulfill our soul's mission and our purpose, our dharma on this planet. So I just wanted to share that with you today. There's so many ways you can just reframe everything. I want you to maybe journal about it today and just think about, what are you going through right now? What has been challenging you? What is something hard that you've been dealing with? And how can you reframe that? How is this actually a blessing? If you want to really go in on this, pull out a notebook or a journal, and at the top of the page, write reframing. Then you write one thing that you're challenged with or something that you're struggling with. Maybe you just lost your job and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. Write out why it's challenging. And then below that, write out why this is a huge blessing. And just go to town. Write a paragraph or a page on all the benefits that are coming from this. Even if you can't see how it's directly going to benefit you, you can imagine and trust and just have some faith that it is happening for you and it is a blessing. And everything is working out for your highest good. And the entire universe is conspiring to help you thrive. So I want you to journal that out, write out something you're challenged with right now, and journal on how it's actually a blessing. Reframe it, turn it into something empowering, and really bask in your power as a creator, as a transmuter of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed, so it's when negativity comes up or perceived challenges come up, you don't avoid them, you don't run away from them, because that just creates bigger shadows, more pain, more suffering. You face them head on, you feel the feels, and then you choose to reframe them. Choose to look at it in an empowering way. Choose to switch up the perspective and shine some light and just see how it's all happening for you. It's all a gift. So I hope this episode inspired you and uplifted you today and provided a helpful reminder, so you'll go work on reframing more and you'll just carry this mindset throughout the rest of your week, throughout the rest of this year. And just remember, anytime something's not going your way, someone's late, you get an argument with someone or anything, you get a parking ticket, whatever, it's immediately try and reframe it. Immediately think of some ways that it's actually benefiting, even if it's a challenge, even if it's hard and it sucks in the moment. At least this is making me stronger, or at least this is helping me from next time, like when my car got repossessed, one of the ways I reframed it is, hey, it's better to get a car repossessed than a house. And now I'm learning this lesson to where when I go buy a house, I'm not going to get a mortgage on a house that I can't afford next time. I'm not going to be living in this house that's $3,000 a month and then not be able to pay my mortgage and have to move out and get it foreclosed and deal with that on a house level and have to tell my daughter that we need to move and all that stuff. Like, that's not going to happen with the house now, because that's already happened with the car. And luckily it was only a $15,000 car, not a $400,000 house like it could have been. So I'm just grateful for that lesson. Even though it was hard to deal with in the moment, I was able to reframe it and say, hey, I know this helped me grow. This can make me stronger. Let's go. So have some fun journaling today. Have some fun reframing over the next few days and just start to build up this habit. It's a practice that you'll just get better at over time. And down the road, it's like people will start to be like, whoa, you're so optimistic and you're so positive. Because anytime you're in a group of people and something bad happens, you'll be the one to immediately reframe it, and the whole group will look to you as a leader, as a source of optimism, and they'll appreciate your perspective for the most part, because you'll be holding that space of like, hey, I know this is happening for us. This is a blessing. Let's go. And shift it into gratitude and transmute that energy. I love you guys so much. I really appreciate you listening, investing this time in your personal growth. If you got any value whatsoever from today's episode, then it's guaranteed someone you know will get value from this episode as well. So if you can copy and paste this link and share this episode out with at least just one person who you think can benefit from this message right now, that would mean the world. We keep growing. This podcast is increasing in numbers. The audience and tribe is just expanding rapidly, and it just means the world to me. So I appreciate you guys doing anything you can to share it out. Huge thank you to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/Burnell Washburn. I have several people contributing $5, $10, even $20 a month to help grow this podcast, to help support me, to nourish this message that we're spreading out into the collective. And, I really believe that this podcast is improving people's lives, because I get messages almost every day of people telling me it is. So let's just keep spreading it. If you can support a few bucks a month on Patreon, that really helps a lot. If not, you can just share it out. Leave me a review on iTunes. Anytime you get value from this episode, if you could just take one small action to help spread it and help grow, that's like an act of service, not just for me, but it's for the people that this work serves. You know what I mean? It's not about how many numbers I get or downloads or how many dollars it makes or anything like that. It's about getting this message out to the people who really need it, using this content to serve humanity in ways that just uplift and benefit all of us. So massive thank you. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you listening, appreciate you supporting. I will see you soon on another episode. Go create an amazing rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Much love. Yo, if you're still listening, I have an extra special message for anyone who's interested in one-on-one coaching. I have 2 coaching spots that just opened up. I keep my coaching numbers really small so I can give a lot of attention and energy to each one of my clients and really be there for them. So I have 2 spots open right now. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, shoot me a message. You can DM me on Instagram at Burnell Washburn. You can email me, burnellwashburn@gmail.com. And let's chat. We can hop on a little discovery call and just figure out if I'm even the right person to help you. And if I'm not, I know a lot of other good coaches and some other content and online courses and things that might be able to help you. So either way, if you feel called to have a mentor, a coach in your life, someone that helps hold you accountable, someone that's maybe already achieved certain results that you want to achieve, or that just carries certain frequencies that you want to embody, answer that call. Trust in yourself. Trust that your higher self is leading you to feel like, you could use this relationship. And really, we all need mentors and coaches. I have multiple, and it's just so profound how much they've helped my life. So if you feel called to work with me at all, shoot me a DM or an email, and we can hop on a little call. We can chat about it. If we end up being a good fit for each other, then, I'm doing some cool work right now. I really know my work is needed, so I'm full force, unapologetically making offers, because I know I'm a badass coach that can really help transform people's lives in powerful ways. And I would be doing a massive disservice to all of you guys if I didn't offer that. And I just wanted to make that. I don't really advertise my coaching services often because typically they fill up really quick, and I only, I can only manage so many clients and still keep my sanity with all the other stuff I have going on. So with the quarantine thing, I'm doing less shows, and just I have a little bit more time to, and I'm just have this passion building up right now of like, I just really want to help people, because I know my mindset and my tools and habits and strategies, all the things I've been equipping myself with over the last several years, can be of massive value to others right now. So it would just be wrong of me to not share that and put it out there. And since I got the extra time to do FaceTime and Zoom calls and emails and all that stuff, like, figured I would throw that out there. If you're feeling called, just reach out to me and let's chat. So much love, sending you all the good vibes. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.